My 5 best videography purchases. Let's get into it. I have made more bad purchases than good purchases when it comes to camera gear. But when you get the right thing and you spend the right price to get that right thing, you know right away with your content that you've hit a home run. But this is the 5 things I don't regret buying, my 5 favorite purchases. And what's funny about this is I don't have anything lined out because I'm literally using every piece of this list right now in this setup. And I have one rule with this, and the rule is that none of these can be a camera or a lens because that's ultimately what runs and fuels this channel. So the first thing I want to talk about is something I bought late last year, and it's the Sony ECM-M1, and it's a shotgun mic. Now, what's good about this shotgun mic is how small it is and how portable it is and how it doesn't really make a big footprint on your camera. What's also nice about it is that it's wireless. There's no 3.5 aux cord that needs to go into your camera. So you're completely wireless and it connects to the hot shoe of the camera. And this mic, being a Sony mic, only works with Sony cameras. So you'll find me rigging it onto my FX3 or my ZV-E1. And then there's also 8 selectable modes to it. And you might be thinking, what 8 modes work for audio and how would you use them? And I found myself using a couple of them in different places. The first is the focus front area, and I use that when I'm vlogging. It picks up just directly my voice when I'm speaking to the camera, and it cancels everything else around it. And it's real nice for that. It's nice for that. It's nice when I want nat sounds that are specifically driven by one type of subject. And then the next one is the omnidirectional, and that captures all sound everywhere. If I'm behind the camera, if I'm in front of the camera, if it sounds behind me, if it sounds to the left, right, whatever. This makes sound design a lot easier because it's able to capture everything in your surroundings. And what might be my favorite part is the fact that it has noise cancellation. From one switch, you can put it into noise cancellation, and I've tested it multiple times, and the fact that you can have a mic at this size without any cords and have noise cancellation on a shotgun mic is something that is pretty new to this day and age of filmmaking. And it works. And that's the one thing that's nice, is the fact that it works and you're able to take just your voice when you're vlogging and cancel out all the other sounds behind you. So it works in tandem with your other mics. Next is the Sony M-Tough SD card. And this SD card is a tough SD card. You might be wondering, how can an SD card, something so simple, be on your list of top 5 things you don't regret buying for your camera? When you spend money on a nice SD card that has nice read speeds, nice write speeds, I have no issues with the codec. I've had no issues recording in 4K and reading it. I've had no issues recording in S&Q. And it's a tough SD card. And it kind of reminds me of like a platinum Amex card. When it drops to the ground, it's like metal. This thing isn't gonna break and it's protected. Something that stores your footage should be something that you spend a good amount of money on. It's something that I don't understand why you'd skimp out on the money and the quality when it's literally what is fueling what's coming out of the camera. And you see the trend here. Sony for the first thing, Sony for the second thing. Sony's making some good products. Next up is something that's also pretty new. I have it on all of my cameras. It's the first thing I buy whenever I buy a lens, and it's a black pro mist filter. Now, a black pro mist filter comes in all types of settings, from 1 to 1/8, and that's the amount of pro mist, as you'd call it, that is in there and the diffusion it creates. What a pro mist filter does is it softens an image and blooms the highlights. So you can see with the lights behind me, it works real well with practicals where it kind of just blooms them and doesn't make them as sharp, and it softens up the entire image. So it takes such a good digital look out of the camera and softens it up a bit, makes it look a little bit more like a film image. And what's nice about this is it's fun to color correct. I have a Dehancer plugin, video linked up above, that takes my footage in S-Log3 and makes a filmic look. And with the fact that I'm able to use halation and bloom and have a built-in pro mist filter, it really creates a unique look that's very customizable and real appealing to the eye. Next up is my NAS. I talked about hard drives and SSDs in my video about the 5 things I regret buying, which is also going to be linked up above. But my NAS has saved my life in terms of dropping footage. I have my NAS set up with 18 terabytes, and anytime I'm done with the project, I have it on my desktop and I drop it into there and I let it sit in there. And that's basically where I archive all of my footage. It's where I pull all of my footage when I need it for different projects. And it's just easy. It hooks up over Wi-Fi. It's not the fastest, but it gets the job done, and it's extremely reliable. And once I run out of 18 terabytes, I just buy another 18 terabyte drive and throw it into the NAS so I can really fill it up over time. It makes the post-production process so much easier and so much more streamlined. And then lastly is a software, and it's DaVinci Resolve. I was a Premiere user for years. I mean, I still am a Premiere user at work, but I switched over to DaVinci Resolve and it's really changed the way I edit. It changes my workflow. It creates more of a fun workflow for me in post-production. It makes coloring fun. It makes the process fun. And it's just ultimately fun to be able to learn a new editing software. And I find DaVinci Resolve to be a lot more reliable. About a year ago, I made a why I switched over to DaVinci Resolve video, which is linked up top. And since I've created that video, I have learned so much more about how DaVinci Resolve works, how it works for me, and ultimately why it works for my workflow and why I have so much fun using it. DaVinci Resolve is a beast. It's a beast of a software, and it's why it's, in my opinion, the best editing software out there. With that, these are my 5 videography, pre-post, and production items that I've purchased over time that I highly do not regret and I highly recommend to you. But I'll have all of these linked to my Amazon storefront with the link down below, and let me know in the comments if you own any of these things and if they've changed the way of your workflow. But with that, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss an upload, and I'll see you guys in the next one.